Hi guys, it's Amy the Gable Stitcher here with a new video for you. It is September 6th, 2019, and I am here not for a regular update video. I hope to do one of those next week. I am here instead for a stash dive video. It is, like I said, September. It is the beginning of fall here in New England. The leaves are turning, the kids finally went back to school, the air is crisp, and while everybody on Flosstube and Instagram and in the stitching community is participating in Teresa's Sampler September, which I am too, October is the month after September. And after Sampler September comes Dark October stitching. And I am dying to stitch some Halloween stuff. I have been looking through my Halloween charts, trying to decide what I am going to start next month. I currently have 3 Halloween whips, 2 that are active and 1 that is almost UFO status. I really need a few more because I love Halloween, I love fall. I love most charts that have something to do with Salem, Massachusetts. So I have a lot of charts because I have been stitching for a very long time and I have been collecting charts for a very long time. Because let's face it, there were 2 hobbies. There was stitching and there are collecting the pretty things that we like to look at because we want to stitch them. And I definitely participate fully in both of those hobbies. So, I was looking through my Halloween charts, and I cannot decide what charts I want to stitch. I've been talking with the friends from my table at StitchCon, Tony, Lynn, Tracy, and Apple. And Tony and I are going to do, I think she's going to do 10 new starts. I want to do 6 new starts for Halloween, starting the middle of September and ending the last week of October. And she and I have been bouncing back and forth ideas with everybody else in the group. And I've also been talking with Julie, Kansas City girl and a Colorado world, about Halloween starts because she and I are both obsessed with Halloween stitching. And we have been enabling each other and trying to come up with ideas for fabric and floss and thread. And instead of taking all these pictures, I told Julie, I'm like, you think I should do a stash dive video? And she's like, yes, I just did one for samplers. So here I am. And, you know, I've been kind of wanting to do this for a little while because I feel like sometimes talking things through help make it easier for yourself to decide and for you to categorize stuff. As in, I want to start now, or it can wait, or maybe I should pass this on to somebody else because I don't think I'm going to stitch this. So that's what I'm here for today, to go through this with all of you. If stash dive videos or dark October stitching and Halloween is not your thing, I totally get it. Thank you for dropping by, and I will have a regular video up hopefully next week. If it is, pause right now, go get yourself a drink, something to eat, laundry to fold, or something to stitch, because I think we're going to be here for a little while. My older kids get home from school in about an hour, so I'm hoping that we're done in an hour, but we shall see. Yeah, said I've been collecting for a while. So, please in the comments that I'm a hoarder, that I'll never stitch all of this, and why do you have so many charts? Because I know, and I'm sure my husband will say, you know, he does say that sometimes when he sees my stuff, but like I said, 2 different hobbies. Been collecting for a long time, some have been passed on, some I've bought, some were gifted to me. But I need to make some decisions. So here we go. first, this one is on top of the pile because this is a definite start for Dark October stitching. It is Primitive Hair, Rebecca Nurse House. I have wanted to stitch this for a while. I will likely stitch it twice. One of my best friends is a Revolutionary War reenactor, and her group is based out of the Rebecca Nurse Homestead. So I would like to stitch it for her, but I would like to have it as well. So I will probably stitch it twice. I think I'm going to change it a little bit for her to fit more for her and her group, but not too much. So this is a definite start. I'm going to kind of make two piles just for myself. You're not going to see them. I don't know why I'm telling you. I'm making a pile for, I want to stitch this now, and then I love it, but I'm not going to stitch it now. Because as we know, we can't stitch everything at the same time. We can only hold one needle. Beware, Erica Michaels. This is a silk gauze kit. I love it. I love Erica Michaels silk gauze. I don't know why I bought it because I have never stitched on silk gauze, but I love it. It's only 2 colors, so I figure if I'm going to try silk gauze, this is a good one to try it. I will not be starting this in Dark October. I know that for sure. Not Forgotten Farm. This is Salem Village. Yep. I bought this at StitchCon this year. I love this. I would like to stitch this year. However, I think it's kind of big. I'm not sure what the stitch count is, but I don't want to stitch too many big things. But this is one of the ones that's really calling to me. And another one, Not Forgotten Farm, Sisterhood of the Broom. I really like this one too, but I can wait to stitch this one. She has, Not Forgotten Farm has an Etsy store, and I gotta say that her pictures on our charts aren't great, and the pictures on the Etsy store are much better. So if you're ever looking at a person on Flosstube who holds up a Not Forgotten Farm, and you're like, why would you stitch that? Because it looks like nothing. Go to Etsy, because you can see a better picture, and then you'll be like, oh, that's why they're stitching it. Because they really are beautiful. They're just hard to see on the pictures. Plum Street Samplers, bowl full of scaries. This is Scary 1. I love this too. Actually, I'm going to stop saying I love this because I obviously love all these charts, because that's why I have them. Stacy Nash Primitives. Halloween Jack Roll. All black for this. This one does have fabric with it that I bought. This is an old chart. Little House Needleworks. Exodus 2016 is the name of this chart. Salem 1692, it says, thou shalt not bear false witness against the neighbor. And I bought this chart when it came out because Salem. I really have a hard time with the 2 neighbors in front shaking hands. Because Salem 1692 was not a nice place. For those of you who have not watched my other videos, I was born in Salem and grew up in Salem and the immediate surrounding areas. And so the Salem Witchcraft Trials has always kind of been a permanent fixture in my life because I grew up around it. And as someone who that is my history and, part of the culture of where I was growing up, certain things about the Salem witchcraft trials like really rubs me the wrong way. And pretending that neighbors were shaking hands with a heart above their head in Salem in 1692 is one of those things. So, Emily C., Eclectic Possessions, had done charted a tree with a noose on it. That is much more appropriate. And I understand that is not the Little House Needleworks aesthetic, but neighbors shaking hands is not 1692. So I really, really like this, but I would not do the shaking hands. I would do something similar to Emily or leave it out. So that's my 2 cents of a rant about Salem in pop culture, literature, and needlework. So, and I do have to say too, as I go through my bin, some of the things in here are not necessarily Halloween because they are things that remind me of Salem and home. So you might look at it and be like, that's not dark October stitching. But to me it is because it just reminds me of growing up. So, okay. Going back in to the stack. Oops, to get that. Okay, these two can go together. Quaker Gone Poe. Quaker Gone Haunted by Michelle Inc. Michelle Inc. was at Celebrations of Needlework in September. And not September, May. And I had to get Quaker Gone Poe. I've had Quaker Gone Haunted when it came out at market. So Quaker Gone Poe is definitely screaming to me a little bit more than Quaker Gone Haunted right now because everybody's stitching Quaker Gone Haunted. So Quaker Gone Haunted is going in the not now pile. Poe is in the maybe pile. And I have floss and fabric. In case you're wondering, both of these charts call for almost the exact same flosses. There aren't many colors. There's only like 6 or 7 colors, and it calls for almost all the same. So I like to stitch on 40 count. That's my favorite. So they helped me figure out how much floss I would need for both of them because I didn't need to buy double the floss. I didn't need to kit up each separately. And the fabric I got for it is Zweigart Silk Weaver Rock Quarry. And this is not going to show because my light's terrible. That's not bad, actually. There we go, yeah. And I bought a fat quarter, and because it's a 40 count, one of them will fit on each section. So I have enough fabric for both, and I have enough floss for both. So if you have those and are thinking of stitching them up, if you stitch in a 40 count, you can fit both in a fat quarter, and you don't need to buy double the floss, just to enable you a little bit. You need like a couple of them, you might need 2 skeins, and most of them you only need 1. This is an old chart. Birds of a Feather, Little Halloween Witch, Halloween Holiday, very cute. Plum Street Samplers, Halloween Hornbook Sampler. This calls for MPI, and I think actually that's one of the reasons why it's been sitting in my stash for so long, because I don't really want to buy the MPIs. I don't really want to stitch it in DMC. Should probably look for some overdyes or just suck it up and buy the MPIs because I've had this probably since it came out with the fabric. It's not this year though. Primitive Hair, Miss Grimald. Miss Grimald. Yes. She is very, very cute, and she is very tiny. She's 46 by 87. really cute. So, and you could even stitch it up on like 40 count and put it like in a little picture and put it in with the regular pictures in your house and see if anybody notices. It's going in the maybe pile. Okay, once again, so I was saying how some things aren't going to seem like dark October stitching, but it's in here. Rovaris, this is a bookmark for the Scarlet Letter. They picked this up at Celebrations Needlework from Rovaris. So all the hardware is in there. Connection to Salem. Scarlet Letter was written by Nathaniel Hawthorne, who was from Salem, Massachusetts. Cricket Collection, Three Gables. I like this. I don't think I put the Bidens on. Let's see, there's a lot of Bidens on it. I think I would just stitch it without the Bidens. That's a not this year pile though. Witchy Tea Time. Love this. Primitive Hair. FYI, if you collect the Just Cross Stitch Halloween issues, this is in one of them. Don't be like Amy and get the paper pattern when you already had it in the magazine. So I want to say maybe 2012 it was in. It was in an older one. Do you love it? That's a big one. That's 167 by 156. But it is really nice, and it only calls for 3 colors. That's the nice thing about a lot of the primitive hairs. A lot of the primitive hairs only call for 3 or 4 colors, and she uses a lot of DMC too. So her charts are a little bit pricier, but they're not horrible to kit up. And she's super nice. She's very, very nice. She has an Etsy shop as well, so you can buy PDFs off of Etsy, as well as physical copies. Putting that into the maybe pile, although I think it's unlikely. This must be a freebie I picked up or was given. Halloween Acorn House. This is Jeanette Douglas in the back. So I took a class with Jeanette, so she may have given that out as a freebie. I'm going to Ellen Chester's class the beginning of October, and I think there's a smalls exchange. Put that in the maybe pile. And if you're going to Ellen Chester's class and there's a smalls exchange, and you might get this then. Yeah. And because I have been stitching and collecting for so long, there's a lot of these charts in here that I'm sure are out of print. And I'm sorry, please don't ask me if I'll give them to you or sell them to you, but there's a lot in here you may not be able to get at this point, unless through eBay or Stash Unload, or for some of them, Miracle. But just enjoy looking at them, I guess. Bent Creek, Yikes, a cute one. Drawn Thread, Happy Halloween. Love this. I've got to say, a lot of these, like this one, I probably, if I stitched it, like I wouldn't do the alphabet. I might just do the rest of the elements or put them on something else. So, I mean, when you're stitching, you can take things out, you can put things on. There's no cross stitch police. Do what you want. Do what you want to fit the piece of fabric, to fit the frame, to fit your aesthetic at home. You know, take the elements you like and do them, and take off the ones you don't like, or the ones that you don't feel that you need. Like this one, I know I picked this up on a freebie table somewhere. I love the little motifs on there. I don't feel the need to stitch an alphabet on it. So I would stitch the motifs and leave out the alphabet. Perfect pumpkin, heart and hand. Love this. Don't love the buttons. Wouldn't put the buttons on. And I have some fabric for that. So I'm assuming that's what it's for. Okay, Old Lizzie Kate, Happy Haunting. It's cute. I don't think this is, I wouldn't stitch right now, but my 11-year-old is a stitcher and she would love this. So it's easy. All right, Lavender Wings. This is called Ghostie's Back. Some of these are really old. Ghostie's Back, very cute. Not calling me right now. This is really cute. This is really old. I don't even know if there's a year on it. 2002. All right, it's not quite as old as I thought. So not this year. All right, another one old too. I'll take this one out of the bag. So this one's obviously kit up with fabric and a fancy project bag. Lizzie Kate, Eek, Boo, and Hiss. So, I know, the light's terrible. I'm sorry. We have a dark house. We have a lot of trees around us, and there's like no sun. But if I didn't do it now, I don't know when I would do it. It's cute. I bought the fabric for this when I bought it. I only have 2 pieces of fabric. So my guess was I only liked 2 of them. I was only going to stitch 2 of them. Ask me if I remember which 2 of them I was going to stitch. Because the answer would be no. I'm pretty sure it was probably Boo and Eek. I mean, I can always get another piece of fabric. But it's very cute. And it is probably not this year pile. And when I said fancy fabric bag, project bag, I wasn't kidding. This is a Ziploc. It's not great value or Target, so it actually is fancy. La-di-da, the witch. I love this. This might go on the maybe pile because this would be a really good travel project during the rest of the year. 1 or 2 colors, letters, throw it in the bag, sitting at bassoon and theater lessons, stitch away. Okay, old. These are old coming up. Lavender Wings, Midnight Ride. I love the colors of that. I really do. I think it's the colors this one that really just spoke to me. Really love it. So, all DMC, call for a 32 count Blue Spruce Belfast. It's 80 by 91, so it's not big. Really like that. Okay. Another Lavender Wings. This is really cool. Witches Riding By. And I can tell you why I love this one, because I love the retro, like the vintage feeling of it. So once again, talking about things that remind me of Salem. So Salem's the witch city, and when I was young, the symbol for Salem was always the silhouette of a witch on a broom. So this just reminds me of that, because it's kind of the same like vintagey era. So I really like that. But this is a big one, 92 by 145, but look at all those colors. With blends, and the skin is over 1. It's going in the not for now category. Again, Lavender Wings, Witches Are Riding By. I'm taking out anything that's a freebie because I can't show you the pictures because there are no pictures. All right, this isn't really Halloween, kind of Lizzie Borden, primitive hair. We'll stitch this. I have this idea in mind for a lot of the primitive hair pieces that have the Massachusetts link is to stitch them and then have a picture taken of me outside the houses holding the stitched piece. So Lizzie Borden house is in Massachusetts. I don't think that's this year though for that one. Okay. All right, this is an old one. This is a hard to find one, I know that. Esmeralda's house, Bright Needle. Love this. So Bright Needle had, I think, 3 houses. They have Dollhouse, Esmeralda's house, a little haunted house, and they had like a needlework quilt shop. They may have had a Christmas house, I don't remember. But I have 2. I have the Dollhouse and I have the Esmeralda's house. And I love this. Love it. But I have Dollhouse started and I won't let myself start this until I finish Dollhouse. So all of Bright Needle's model stitches are done over 1. You don't need to stitch them over 1, you can stitch them over 2. But they have a really delicate look stitched over 1. And they tend to use a lot of anchor floss too. And anchor tends to have more of a different hue than DMC, kind of a gentler hue, I think is probably the best way I can describe it. I find anchor more matte. They're more of a matte finish where DMC is more of a gloss finish. And so that will influence how your final product looks. Primitive Needle, Kindred Spirits. Yeah, you're not gonna find this. I would like to stitch this. This is gonna go into the maybe this year pile. With Kindred Spirits, tried and true, may Halloween be fine for you. So, I had a dream a couple of weeks ago that Primitive Needle's family, the estate, decided to reprint all of her charts. So it was a horrible loss when she passed away, and especially because we can't get her charts anymore. So, but I did have a dream that the family decided to reprint all of her charts. Maybe. So, because I know so many of us would love to stitch them, and you just can't find them. Dead Man's Chess. This is Plum Street. This is an old one, still available. This is almost a full coverage chart. And this is done, if you do it on 32 count, it's the size of a chessboard, like an actual plain chessboard. So really pretty. It's called for MPIs. I will not be starting this year. Jen Lee, Quirks and Stitches, is stitching this right now, and she's doing a DMC conversion. I believe she's using DMC. She's not using the MPI. So, if you're interested to see how it looks, you can go watch her. Really old chart, Chessie and me. Just a little cat with a pumpkin sitting on a hill. 2 Plum Street samplers, Salem Sisters, Salem Sisters 3. I do not have Salem Sisters 2. I think just because I don't care for it as much as these. So I think every time I've looked at it, I'm like, yeah, no. So I would like to stitch one of these. And this is one of those 2, like I can't decide which one to stitch, so I just don't stitch either one. Because I like them both. I mean, does that ever happen to anybody else? You're like, I can't decide what I want to stitch. Right? I can't decide which book I want to read, so I'm just not going to read either book. Or I'm not going to stitch either thing. I'll stitch something else instead. So today, I think this one's calling to me more because I like the Tombstone Angel. So this one says, Sisters of mine, a tree be our shrine, to these treacheries we've not committed. Our brethren have judged us, their mercies begrudge us, but God holds our souls as acquitted. Gallows Hill, Salem Village, 1692. So I think this also might be calling me because a couple of weeks ago, I went with one of my friends to Gallows Hill in Salem. They found where Gallows Hill was, and they put a memorial there. So it just opened last year, so we went there and checked it out. So Salem Sisters is going in the not this year pile. Salem Sisters 3 is going into the maybe pile. I think I have to change this because I know it's Salem Sisters, but the thing that bothers me about this is that it wasn't just women who were victims of the Salem witchcraft trials, men were as well. So I don't like forgetting them in a memorial piece. So, and they were hung as well at Gallows Hill. So I think that's the thing that bothers me about this one, but it's still going into the maybe pile. So I can't decide. All right. So I can't figure out how to organize charts. Like, if you have a great organization system, let me know. I have it's a closet, but it's big. It's like a walk-in windowless room, but it has a slanted roof. Like, I can stand in the middle, and I'm like 5'2", and I can stand in the middle, like not, and there's like this much above my head. So there isn't a lot of wall space in there. So I'm trying to figure out, is it better to put my charts into binders, or should I put them into like magazine holders? So I got to figure out how to store them. That's neither here nor there, but just an aside. Okay. One of the things that's in this binder is this chart. It's a Tilton Crafts chart. It's the House of the Seven Gables. And I love this picture. My name, Gable Stitcher, comes because I was a tour guide at the House of Seven Gables in Salem for many years. And I had a wonderful time working there, and I have a lot of friends still from there. So I needed to have this chart. I'm not starting it anytime soon because it's full coverage. You can see the stitch count. It's huge. But it's a beautiful picture. So that's in there. This is a definite possibility for this year. I just bought this off of Etsy. From the Little Stitcher. PDF download, the 3 Pumpkin Ladies. I don't know why, but I love this. I think it's because this reminds me a little bit of, what is that? Scandinavian holiday, St. Lucia Day in December, where you have the girls with the candles, and this just reminds me of that for Halloween. So I actually bought this in hopes of probably doing it this year for Halloween. So that's going into the quite possibly pile. Okay. Salem Remembered, Primitive Needle. Have fabric for that. It's a 40 count Burmese beige from Silk Weaver. I love that. I mean, who doesn't love this? If you're watching this to see a Salem Halloween Dark October stash dive, you love this. So I really need to stitch that. when this came out, I'm like, I have to start it like now. Nevermore by Lila Studio. I love this. And I obviously didn't start it right away because I couldn't get one of the fibers, one of the silks it called for, I could not get. And by the time I got it, the I need to start it now had passed. So it's beautiful. I've seen it stitched up. It's large. It's likely not this year. Okay. Freebies can't show. Freebies can't show. Okay. So this is another one. Prairie Moon, Thine is the Trick or Treat. I actually got this very recently, and I did not need to sell one of my 3 children to get it. I still have all 3. Lynn from Lynn M Stitches, I'll link her channel below. She is one of the friends I made at StitchCon, sat at the table. She went to like the mother of all stash sales last month, and she was like, if there's anything there, like you want me guys to check it out for you, anything you want there. And you know, I kind of gave her a list of my unicorns, thinking like they're not going to be there, but whatever. This was there. So thank you, Lynn. I love you, Lynn. So she got this and sent it out for me. And this is if I don't start it for Doc October stitching, I will be starting it very soon after. I just am trying to decide the perfect fabric and floss to stitch this with, because this needs to be stitched with something like amazing. So I have some fabrics pulled, and I ordered a couple of pieces of fabric from Leslie at Under the Sea, and I'm going to wait until that fabric comes in to decide. So this is one of the things that Julie, Kansas City girl in the Colorado world, and I have been talking about as far as, you know, trying to figure out fabric and floss for. So Birds of a Feather. This is an old one. Remember Me, still available. One of the things I love about this is the fact that the witch, it's not a witch, it's a girl wearing a mask. If you look closely, you can see that. So, love that. I think this is going to be a knot this year. I think I'm going to put it in the maybe this year pile, though. It calls for a lot of overdyes, and I don't have a lot of the overdyes in here. Not this month. Witches of Salem, Primitive Hair. If you love Salem Remembered, you don't have it, and you don't want to sell a child or a kidney to get it, get the Witches of Salem by the Primitive Hair. It's really nice. I ended up actually kind of buying this by mistake because I have Salem Remembered and I've had it for a long time. And I think that I might end up taking elements of this, but not the whole thing. Because I do love the Tombstone Angel, the Witch House, aspects of it I like, but I don't need 2 pieces that are essentially identical. Because if you're talking about just the names, I do love Salem Remembered a lot better. If you're talking about the other aspects of it, I do like that in this one. So, undecided. And trivia fact. So the Witch House, there's a lot of patterns out recently on Etsy too that have the Witch House on it. It's called the Witch House in Salem because one of the judges, Judge Corwin, had connections to that house. Not because somebody who was accused of being a witch lived in that house. It's because it was the Judge Corwin house, or had a connection to Judge Corwin. I don't know if he actually, I think he lived there, but you get more visitors if you call it the Witch House than the historic Corwin home. So it's worth seeing. Midnight Ride, Blackbird Designs. This is still available, but as with everything with Blackbird, you never know. So if you like it, go grab it. this screams Halloween, right? This is a Salem connection. So Parker Brothers, that produced Monopoly, up until about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, before they were bought out by Hasbro, was based in Salem, Massachusetts. So when I was a kid, if you went on a field trip with Girl Scouts, you might go to the Parker Brothers factory, and you would get a game when you left as, you know, a prize. And the building was just always there. So this makes me think of Salem. And I think that's it in this one. So the Monopoly chart, once again, you can't find that one. There are some charts on Etsy. If you ever find the actual Monopoly chart without selling a kidney, you want to stitch it, just grab it. So, and that's another one. If you stitch it on a certain size, it's an actual game board. So I would like to stitch that in the not too distant future. So the Parker Brothers building is no longer in Salem. They knocked it down, they made condos there. But whenever I drive by, I still think of Parker Brothers. Okay. Kathy Barrick, Susanna Foley, Tombstone Angel. Kathy Barrick also has an Etsy shop, and I believe that's available at her Etsy shop. It's not this year. Prairie Moon, Poindexter Pumpkin. Very cute. It's not this year. Small chart. Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, Kathy Barrick. I absolutely love this. And just like with the Plum Street Hornbook, my thing with this is that Kathy Barrick stitched charts in all MPI. This is absolutely enormous. And it would be stunning at MPI, but to stitch it at MPI is a lot of money. I don't know. Jen Lee, Perks and Stitches, is doing made a conversion with overdyed cottons. That's really nice. I saw it at StitchCon. She started up in the corner, and it looks really good. So I might ask her if she would mind sharing her conversion with me. I might end up kicking up with MPIs a little bit at a time, because I saw recently some of the Hawk Run Hollows stitched up in MPIs. They were at StitchCon on the brag table. And there's a lot of Kathy Barrick models at Celebrations of Needlework in New Hampshire. And there's a reason why Kathy Barrick stitches her models in MPI, because they're gorgeous. So, I don't know. So this is obviously a maybe. Not this year, but stitch or something. I think it's going to blow out. I have fabric for this. I got it at Silk Weavers. This is a 46 count. It's called Toasted Cashew. Yeah, I can't see that at all. It's a pretty color. So, it'd be ready to start, except I don't have any of the MPIs. That's a not this year. But that is a definitely soon, because this is one of those that every time I look at my stash, I'm like, it's calling to me. Okay. Halloween Rules, Lizzie Kate. So you buy these separately. There's 2 in each little booklet, but then you can go onto the Lizzie Kate website, and there's the border is free if you want to stitch them all together. And they have little buttons with them too. I don't know if I'd stitch the buttons. I'm not a cutesy Halloween person. I do love the Halloween rules because I have kids and they definitely do apply for the month of October, but I don't know if I put the buttons on. So, yeah. So this is one of those that you need to buy a bunch of charts to kit it up. Would like to stitch at some point 6 of them. That's not this year. But I should put them all in a bag so they stay together. You don't lose them. Alright, another fancy project bag. It's a hefty. This one isn't Halloween, so to say, except it makes me think of October a little bit. It's an old blackbird. Alright, Moose Feathers number 8. It's called Moon Garden. So it's beautiful. And when I bought it, there was a piece of fabric that I thought it would look really good with it. This is going to blow out. It's purple. Hold it back here, I might be able to see it. So it doesn't call for this fabric. This is a PTP. Pansy. I thought it looked really pretty on that. So not dark October, so to say, but makes me think of Halloween, October, and it's in the I need to stitch it soon category because, let's face it, I've had it since it came out. Get it up. It's time. Another primitive hair, old Salem Broom Company. Love this. This is charted with overdyes. I don't know if I'd use overdyes. I'd have to look at it. It's charted with Raven. So I'd need to look to see if there was enough variegation in it because so much of black is just black. But I do love that. This is something that I'd probably do at some point. I'm not going to start it this year for Dark October. But this is something I would consider a good travel stitch because it's 2 colors and I could do the outline and fill in. I spend a lot of time stitching not in the house during the year, sitting at kids' extracurricular activities and just stitching while I'm waiting. So I look for things that don't have a lot of color changes that I can just fill in. We are getting there. This is an old one. I believe it's still available. It's actually cannot, picture's small, so you can't see it very well anyways, but with in the bag, you don't even have a fighting chance. This is Blue Ribbon Designs. It is called Black Cats and Flying Bats. So you could do it 2 different ways. You could do that or smalls. So Belinda Blue Ribbon Designs has an Etsy shop. She does not sell PDFs, but she does sell hard copies on her shop. So she also sells bags. She's a really nice bag. She's an amazing quilter and just a lot of like sewing stuff as well. So her shop's definitely worth a look. I took a class with Belinda probably about 8 years ago now, 6 years ago. She's super nice, and she used to, I don't know if she still does, she probably still does, she used to stitch all of her own models. So all of her models and finishing, like she doesn't have a model stitcher, she's the one who had done them. So, and almost everything she stitches on 40 count. So, it's really cute, because on Hallows Eve, under a moonlit sky, the witches, bats, and ghosts learn to fly. So, it's cute, but it's not cutesy. This one everybody's seen, Halloween Quaker. I bought this at one point because I do love it. I love it. But I was like, I'll never stitch that as a trick-or-treat, so I'm going to get myself some Halloween Quaker. And this is all kitted up. Like, there's no reason not to start this. Except for the fact that now I want to start done as the trick-or-treat. So I will stitch it, because it is different. Like, the colors on it, they're really cool with the light and the coming out of the windows, and like the moon, the white. I have the called for fabric, which is PTP Murky. So it's really cool. This I just got recently when I went to Dye and Stitch. This is Jack's Bash. I have wanted to stitch this forever. So love it. This one actually does not call for MPIs. This one calls for Gentle Arts. I love that, but it's probably not this year. Okay, I have a pile of Prairie Schoolers here. Do those in a second together. I do not have every Prairie Schooler Halloween. I was looking at the Prairie School Halloween charts. I think there's 11 or 12 of them, maybe more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe I have 11 and there's more, but there's a lot of Prairie School Halloween charts. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. All Hallows Eve. This is Boo to You. Ornaments. And Boo Moon. Pumpkin Patch. That one's cute. When I pulled this out initially, I was thinking maybe I would do the 4-corner one, but I don't know, it's not calling to me right now. Not screaming. They're all calling. It's not screaming. Trick or Treat. Love this one. I love those smalls. Love those. Bump in the Night. Like that. Hocus Pocus. Love this one. Absolutely love it. So I love this and I love Bump in the Night. But there's a few things on the Hocus Pocus that really make me smile. So that that moon just makes me giggle. And I love this too, the crystal ball with a question mark in it. Nevermore. Quoth the Raven, Nevermore. I love Nevermore, but I think what I like just as much are these two smalls. And I think this is going to go into the maybe pile because Tony's trying to tell me that I should not do all big things. So I should do some ornaments and really like those. I do love myself VAPs. I love big projects. I think part of it is because I'm so excited to start a bunch of Halloween things. Not so much because I want to start stuff, because I don't really like starting a project. I like having a project started so I can just pick it up and go. And I think that's why I want to do 6 Halloween starts. So I have something where I can just pick it up and go. And I think that's why I like big projects, because there's a lot of time when you can just stitch on it where you're not starting it. And I like finishing projects, but I don't know if it's just me, but when I get to the end of a project, I get a little nervous. I don't know, like, am I worried I'm going to run out of floss? I don't know what I'm worried about, but like that last, like, 200 stitches of a project, I get a little anxious. So, yeah, so I think that's why I don't like smalls so much, because I don't really like starting things. And the last little bit, I often get a little anxiety for no reason, because it's not really a reason to get anxious. And with smalls, you're doing a lot of starting, you're doing a lot of finishing. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why I don't like smalls, and that's the only thing I can come up with. But I'm going to try to throw a couple of smalls in. Maybe if I do more smalls, I'll like them more. So those two are going to possibly go in. Raise the roof. So this is, was it Spooky Fence? This is Teresa Kitten Stitcher is half, or was half of Raise the Roof. Shakespeare's Peddler. They had a bunch of these fences. They had like a witch one. They have a vampire one, like Vlad's fence. Very cute. So still available. Okay. 2 Blackbirds, Halloween Eve, and Midnight Watch. And I love both of these, and they are like so similar. But I love both of them. And honestly, because they're so similar, these might be 2 as well that, like I did just that. And cut out the alphabet and did just that and cut out the alphabet. And I had actually looked at these. I need to do the math more. Like, I was wondering, because they're so similar, I almost wonder if you could put them like side by side. More like this, right? So you'd have the giant bird facing off with a giant cat. I don't know if the stitch count lines up, and I don't know how it would look, but that just was kind of an intriguing idea. But I really like this. I feel like I need to find the perfect fabric for that. I'm not sure what it is. Like, I think like a darker color fabric, like a blue. I keep looking. I'm like at the front of my house, and I never film here, so I see like occasionally a car going by. So yeah, what do you think? That on a dark fabric? Let's see. Kind of washed out, but there's the moon behind the cat. So that would like really stand out if it was on like a blue fabric. So Julie, we've been talking fabric. I need a fabric for this part, blue. So like a night sky, but not black. So I can make the cat stand out. Let me know what you think. That's going into my possibly file, because if I find the right fabric, that might work. Casting a Spell, Blackbird box here. This is so cute. I don't finish very well, so this is what's held me back from this, but this is a great chart. If you want this chart's been out for a while, it's still available. This is a chart you probably want to grab now, because I feel like with Blackbirds, you never know. So, and the box, you can get the box at Hobby Lobby. Let's put it in. So, really cute. That's not this year, though. Primitive Hair. Bought this one off of Etsy. Pumpkins in Love. Love this. I actually have an orange piece of fabric I think I'm going to do it on. I have this one all kitted up, because I figure if I do in the orange piece of fabric, I don't need to do the inside of the jack-o'-lantern's faces. Just be the black silhouette. So that's a maybe, because that's all kitted up. Witch's Night Out. This is Blackberry Lane. This is adorable, stitched up. Marie, the designer, was at Celebrations with Needlework a couple of years ago, and her models are amazing, amazing, amazing. She does a lot of stitching over one, and just, wow. It was one of those booths where you're like, I want to buy everything in this booth. I resisted. I bought just one. And because of this bell pull. And the bell pull is stitched on Kermit by Weeks Dye Work over one, and it's a bright, bright green, and with the black, it like really stands out. Stunning. This is a not this year, but this is a sometime soon. Love it. Plum Street Sampler, Ghoul Tide Welcome. This is another one charted in MPI. I have not started this for a couple of reasons. This is one of those I bought and I was like, I have to start it now. And I didn't start it because MPI, love MPI, but it's a lot of silk. And you sell me something in a package this big, and I automatically think that it's small. Not a small, but just a small chart. Because I look at this, I think, oh, it's big. This, it's small. Because 8.5 by 11, half the size. So it's a half size chart. No, there are stitch counts for a reason. So the stitch count of this is 332 by 176. 332. It is not small. So, love it. We'll stitch it with the MPI someday, but that day is not this year because this is a big commitment and this is something that I cannot start with a lot of other big things. Freebie can't show. Another Blackbird Designs. This is an old one. Moonlit Garden, 22. It's not quite as old. Love this. I was talking to Abby Bella Stitch about this one, and she had said, do it on blue and watch somebody's video. I think it was Olivia. Did it on blue, and it was amazing. And I did, and it was amazing. So I have fabric with it because I bought it a million years ago. I am not stitching it on this fabric. I'm going to put it with something else. And I am going to stitch this on a blue fabric because that will look amazing, just like this one on blue. Amazing. So, Julie, blue fabric. All right. Because there can never be enough Halloween Quakers, I have Cherished Stitchers Quaker Halloween Sampler. I love this too. I love Quakers. I love Halloween. I'm going to stitch this. Even though I have 2 other Quaker Halloweens, I'm going to stitch all 3 of them. Stitching that is the trick-or-treat first. But then I'm going to stitch the other 2. This one is wild because this is still available. You can find it on Etsy. You look at this and you think, this is monochromatic. It's totally monochromatic. I was going on a retreat, and the shop that was going to be there, the stash, had sent out an email and said, if you want anything for me to bring, for you to buy, you know, shoot me an email and let me know what you want me to order for you. And this was coming out, and I said, I would like this with the fabric and the floss, because I was thinking monochromatic. So I got this gorgeous fabric, which I'm sure is a Lakeside, to go with it. It's totally blown out. There we go. And I get floss. It is not monochromatic. And when you see these colors, you're going to be like, really? Really? Need some white to hold it up against. This is a NPI. It's like this is like a blacky, holy color. Silken colors. I don't know what color this is. She obviously knew, just not on there. It's a number. So it's like a light purple, right? It's pretty true color. Light purple. Then there's two NPIs here that are like royal blue. They're not quite as bright as they're showing up. They're a little bit more purpley, but they're blue. Like, they're definitely blue. A Belle Soie, Purple Paradise. A little bit more purple than what's showing up, but it's definitely a bluey purple. And then these are the called for. Gloriana, Halloween green. It's like a lime green. It's like the color of that Kermit fabric by PTV, lime green. Do you see any of those colors on there? I don't. So what has held me back from that is I don't know if I'm going to stitch it as charted or as my brain sees it. So once again, still available, find it on Etsy. Those are the called for. Not this year. Okay, another drawn thread. Like that once again. There we go. Cut off the top. Nice little small. Okay, these are not all Halloween. Primitive bags. Love that. Love that. This is hands to work. Love it. That's going into maybe this pile just because of that. Okay. This is another one I think I'm definitely going to start this year. Stacey Nash, Halloween, and Holly Berry Farm. I have fabric for it too. When I was at Dying to Stitch about fabric. Because it calls for R&R. Ironically enough, the R&R fabric it calls for looks nothing like this cover photo. So we matched up the fabric for what looks like is in the photo. And I think I'm going to mostly stash dive. Like I'm going to look through my Victorian motto and stuff. But I really want, this is going to be my, this is big. This is going to be a big start of the year for Halloween. 343 by 227. So that's in the pile for this year. Okay. Get a little chart here. I'm not even going to try to say this. This is an Italian designer. You can see it on top. I think these are adorable. Like cute, but not cutesy. And I think I would stitch them all together on one piece. I don't think I would do smalls because that whole, I don't really like doing smalls thing. So I love this. I think I have fabric for it too, and I have most of the threads. Unlikely, but maybe going in that pile. We're almost there. Okay. I have no idea what's in here. Cute. I went on a retreat, and I think this was a freebie. It was a make and take thing. I have no idea what it is, and I'm not going to show you because it's a chart. And it came with a little vampire ruler. We'll make it take. But I love this little bag. We're almost there. 4 more things. So these are things that are not what you would think of Halloween, but it's Salem, so it's in my pile. Another H7G, House of Seven Gables. This is a full kit. You can get it at the House of Seven Gables gift shop. You can also get it at this little Nina workshop in Salem that you can get it at. And I think I actually picked this up on Stash Unload because it was a ridiculously inexpensive price and I didn't have it, so I bought it. Comes with Ada. I'd probably just stitch it on the even weave. So that's, I'm putting that in the near future start. because I don't have a stitched House of Seven Gables. I would like to stitch one, but I don't think it's going to be Halloween. Speaking of the House of Seven Gables, if you don't like that, but you would love a House of Seven Gables, Primitive Hair also has a House of Seven Gables. And she has it in 2 versions, where you can get the house, or you can get the house with the characters on it. And this is one of those I can't decide which I want to do, because I love just the house, but I love the characters too, because that's where Phoebe got her name, my youngest. One of the characters in the book's name was Phoebe. So I might stitch this and then the characters separate. I don't know. This is in the pile of indecision. And the last Salem one for Primitive Hair, Scarlet Letter. Love it. So that's going in the maybe pile because that one's not big. It's all DMC. I was talking to Isabella at Celebrations of Needlework, and she is lovely. Like, she is so, so nice. But I was talking with her about Salem because she obviously loves Salem, and I was giving her suggestions of places she should go to chart. So maybe she'll listen and do it because I would love to stitch them, but we'll see. I was giving her more ideas so she could chart more Salem. All right, last are 3 samplers. Yes, it's Sampler September. Yes, this is my Dark October Stash Dive, but these are samplers that have a connection to Salem, and that's why they're in the Salem pile. And hold on, this is just, let's do my whole pile there. All right, one of them is, this picture is horrific. Like, you can't see anything there. You're like, it's a blob. I agree. It's the Hannah Foster Thistle sampler. Hannah Foster Thistle. Hannah Foster Thistle. Okay, so this is from the Beverly Historical Society, and Beverly is the town north of Salem, and yeah, so it's a local historic sampler to the area, and I would like to stitch that at some point. This is an R&R chart, Charlotte Frobisher. So this chart is from, it's a New England sampler. I don't think it's it's not a specific Salem sampler, but with the R&R, I mean, it's an old chart, old picture. You can't really see much. This sampler is owned by the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem, Massachusetts, which is the oldest continually operating museum in the country. But 20 years ago, more than that, 25 years ago, it was the 2 separate museums. It was the Peabody Museum and the Essex Institute. And this sampler was in the collection of the Essex Institute. And it was probably about 25 years ago the 2 museums merged. So, actually, I can tell you when it was now. So this is in the collection of a museum in Salem. So I would like to stitch this at some point. I almost started this month because Sampler September. So this is going into the maybe pile because this might be my first start for Dark October stitching because it would then count for Sampler September too. Double dip, 2 for 1, right? And I'm pretty sure it calls for some Averissois, but I might just do it in DMC. So, yeah, so this is the 4th sampler, R&R sampler. This is old. And the reason why I said it was more than 25 years ago, the last thing in my box is the Mary Hollingsworth sampler. And this is owned by the PBDS 6 Museum. And there was a class that was given there September of 1997 on this sampler. And so the merge happened before that. I think the merge happened 1991, 92. You don't care. I don't know why I'm wondering that. Anyways, this sampler is one of the earliest samplers in the country, one of the earliest New England samplers. The Laura Standish sampler is the oldest New World sampler, or North American sampler. I know that for sure. And the original is in Plymouth. And Mary Hollingsworth is really a companion piece to Laura Standish. It is a very, very old sampler. It's a very old band style, and it's more like the British style samplers. So one of my good stitching friends took this class, has stitched the sampler. She stitched Laura as well, and they're hanging next to each other in our house, and they're stunning. So I have Laura as well. One of my friends bought Laura about 20 years ago and decided she wasn't going to stitch it, so she gave it to me. And my other friend had passed me on this chart because she stitched it and she doesn't need it anymore. So I would like to do this. Is a huge project, and this is not going to happen, but it was the last thing in the box. Mary and Laura are both reversible samplers. And if you are interested in reversible samplers, please go follow Vanna on Instagram and listen to her and Gary on Fiber Talk, because Vanna and Gary are both stitching some reversible samplers. I don't have the headspace right now to do one. I need to be really focused on it and do it. But I do want to do them in the next few years. I would like to do one, and I will likely do Laura first because I have Laura all kitted up. And yeah, so like I said, this is the companion piece from Salem, Mary Hollingsworth. Really beautiful. And my bin is empty. So I want to do 6. My pile of maybes got cut down to this, so that's better. If you hung with me, thank you very much. That was good going through my stuff. I enjoyed it. If you feel that I need to stitch something, feel free to comment and let me know. I am not going to do any editing at all, because if I do, this video just won't go up. I'll put some links in for the people I refer to who are stitching on some of the projects that I showed, so you can go check them out and give them some love and attention. And that's it. I'll be back probably next week with a regular Flosstube update. It's been about a month since my last update, but I have not done a lot of stitching because it's been getting the kids ready for school and end of summer. But it's not time to reset and get into fall stitching. So thank you very much for watching and spending some time with me. I hope that you are enjoying your fall autumnal stitching, and if you are joining in some dark October stitching, I would love to hear about it and find out what you're stitching as well. So thank you very much. Have a great day and keep stitching, guys. Bye.